It was February 9th, 1864. Deep inside the heavily guarded walls of Libby Prison in Richmond, Virginia, over 100 Union officers were poised to do the unthinkable. They were emaciated, weak from starvation, and haunted by months of brutal confinement. Yet, they had spent 17 grueling nights carving out their path to freedom, a tunnel hidden beneath the prison floor. This wasn't merely an escape. It was an act of defiance, a high-stakes gamble where the price of failure was certain death. With nothing but makeshift tools and a shared determination, the prisoners risked everything. As the clock ticked and freezing temperatures gripped the city, the moment to act had arrived. This is the extraordinary story of resilience, ingenuity, and the greatest prison escape in American history. To understand this incredible escape, it's important to know how these men ended up in such dire circumstances. The American Civil War, 1861-1865, was one of the bloodiest conflicts in U.S. history, claiming over 600,000 lives. However, the horrors of the war were not limited to the battlefield. Disease, starvation, and inhumane treatment plagued both soldiers and prisoners of war. By the end of the conflict, approximately 400,000 soldiers had been held as prisoners on both sides, with many enduring unimaginable conditions. Among the most infamous prison facilities of the Confederacy was Libby Prison in Richmond, Virginia. Originally constructed as a tobacco warehouse, it was converted into a holding facility for Union officers in 1862. Its 3 interconnected buildings spanned an entire city block, making it a strategic location for the Confederates. However, what made Libby infamous wasn't its size or design. It was the appalling conditions inside. Libby Prison was meant to hold a few hundred prisoners, but by late 1863, its population swelled to over 1,000. Packed into overcrowded rooms with little ventilation, prisoners endured conditions so harsh they bordered on inhumane. They slept on bare wooden floors, crammed together in spoon formation to conserve warmth, turning over on command to relieve aching bodies. Food rations were meager and barely edible. Cornbread made from rotting cornmeal, bug-infested soup, and rancid bacon. Starvation was a constant companion, and diseases like dysentery, typhoid, and pneumonia spread like wildfire. Reports indicated that as many as 5 prisoners died each day, their bodies carried out with little ceremony. One survivor described Libby as an aeon of agony, while another likened it to a living hell where hope was a distant memory. For the Union officers trapped within its walls, the choice was stark: endure the torment or risk everything in a bid for freedom. In the midst of this despair, one man emerged as a beacon of hope. Colonel Thomas E. Rose of the 77th Pennsylvania Infantry. A former schoolteacher, Rose had joined the Union Army at the start of the war, quickly earning a reputation for bravery and leadership. He had fought in key battles such as Antietam and Gettysburg, but his fortunes changed during the Battle of Chickamauga in September 1863, where he was captured and sent to Libby Prison. Upon arriving at Libby, Rose was appalled by the conditions. Witnessing the suffering of his fellow officers ignited a fierce determination within him. He would not spend the rest of the war confined to this wretched place. Escape was not just a personal mission. It was a moral imperative. Rose initially attempted to organize a revolt among the prisoners, but fear and hopelessness had taken hold of many. Undeterred, he turned to more practical methods, joining forces with Major A.G. Hamilton, another determined officer. Together, they began plotting an escape. Rose and Hamilton explored various escape methods, but encountered repeated setbacks. Their initial attempts to slip past guards or find weaknesses in the prison's defenses failed. Then, inspiration struck. They would dig a tunnel. The plan was ambitious. They needed to find a concealed location, dig without tools, and dispose of the dirt without arousing suspicion. After scouring the prison, their eyes fell on a section of the basement known as Rat Hell. This neglected area, filled with straw and infested with rodents, was avoided even by the guards. It was the perfect hiding spot for their operation. Using broken spoons, knives, and pieces of wood, Rose and Hamilton began chipping away at the earth beneath the prison. The work was backbreaking and dangerous. Flooding from nearby sewers often filled their tunnel with water, and the air was thick with dust and stench. One misstep could bring a guard's attention, ending their effort and their lives. To hide the evidence of their digging, the prisoners devised clever tactics. They packed loose soil into deep pockets in the straw-lining rat hell, ensuring it wouldn't be detected. Working in shifts of 5, they took turns digging, resting, and keeping watch. The tunnel would eventually stretch 50 to 80 feet, emerging in a vacant lot near Kerr's warehouse outside the prison walls. The digging was fraught with challenges. The tunnel was often no wider than 16 inches, forcing the men to crawl on their stomachs. At one point, Rose became trapped in a tight section, nearly suffocating before managing to free himself. Yet despite the dangers, their determination never wavered. After 17 grueling nights, they completed the tunnel. It emerged in a discreet location that allowed the prisoners to slip into the city undetected. The stage was set for the escape. On the night of February 9, 1864, the plan was put into motion. With the temperature dipping below freezing, the prisoners moved in groups of 15, crawling through the narrow tunnel and emerging into the lot by Kerr's warehouse. Stealth was critical. Any noise could alert the guards. The escape was a test of nerves. Some men froze with fear, while others pressed forward with resolve. By the time dawn broke, 109 Union officers had successfully made their way through the tunnel. It was one of the largest and most daring prison escapes in history. As the prisoners scattered, chaos erupted in Richmond. Confederate guards, believing Libby to be escape-proof, were caught off guard. By the time they realized what had happened, the escapees were long gone. Out of the 109 men who escaped, 59 reached Union lines, aided by local sympathizers and their knowledge of the terrain. Tragically, 2 drowned in the James River, and 48 were recaptured, including Colonel Rose. Despite being sent back to Libby, Rose's spirit remained unbroken. He was eventually exchanged for a Confederate officer and returned to his unit, where he continued to serve until the war's end. The escape from Libby prison became a symbol of defiance and resilience. It demonstrated the lengths to which men would go to reclaim their freedom, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Colonel Thomas E. Rose and his fellow officers left an indelible mark on history, their story a testament to the unyielding human spirit. Today, the Libby prison escape stands as a reminder of courage, ingenuity, and the enduring desire for liberty.